All right, we're going to create our birch trees, and we're going to be using a side of cardboard to give it some texture. We're just going to dip a little bit of our cardboard into our paint, and we're going to stamp it down the side. Now we'll be able to scrape. So I'm pressing my cardboard down and I'm scraping along the side. You really don't need a whole lot of paint on your cardboard. I'll try to get 4 tree trunks in here. And we'll let that dry. All right, we are going to create our background, our sky. So with the dry brush, I'm using tempera paint. I'm going to pick up some white paint. I'm going to start at the top of my paper, and I'm going to go across back and forth. We're going to do the sky, and then we'll move into the ground. Less white as I get towards the middle. Now I can go ahead and pick up my sky color, and you'll see that it's creating a tint. When you mix any color with white, you get a tint. Make sure you're getting all the way to the edges. And I'm not stirring my brush and my paint, I'm just dipping it in and picking it up. I can think about brush strokes. If it's a real windy fall afternoon, I can do windy lines. Touch up some of these areas that show my white paper. All my brush strokes are going across the page. I'm going to stop there and I'm going to start moving into my grass. I'm going to clean my brush, bounce, bounce, bounce. Check it. I shouldn't have too much paint. And I'm going to dry it off. And to start the grass, I'm going to start with yellow. Right along that horizon line. All right, I'm going to pick up just a little bit of green and start mixing it with my yellow. The more green I add, the darker it will be. So I'll start with just a little bit till I get it where I want it. So we had yellow and we added less yellow going down and more green, and that's what made our bottom darker. This is gonna help show depth in our painting. If we wanted it darker at the bottom, we could even add a little bit of blue. Kind of blend that up. As things go into the distance, they get lighter. Now we can go add some clouds. I'm gonna take a smaller brush a little bit. You can dab your clouds, kind of make them fluffy and translucent. Or you want a little more folk art, you can actually paint them in. If your paint's still wet, it will just blend. Anytime you get too much blue on your brush, please clean and dry your brush off. I think the dabbing looks best. Have some go off the page. And clean and dry. Now we're gonna put some of our fall leaves in. So it looks like it's behind our tree. So the fall leaves, we're thinking reds, we're thinking yellows, we're thinking oranges, maybe even a little magenta. And I'm just going to dab on my leaves. Working my way across the top. Clean my brush. Maybe I'll pick up some orange. Mix it in with the yellow. Remember, your darker colors are stronger. Now we can start creating our trees. We painted our tree trunks, so I'll go ahead and cut on that line that I created. And trees aren't necessarily exactly perfectly straight, so I'll keep that in mind while I cut. Let me make this one wider. We can figure out how we want to place our trees. I think this one will look good there. Go ahead and turn these over. Make sure the glue tip touches the paper. And if your tree It can go on the very bottom of the paper, or it can go up here, it can go here. We can't have it floating in the sky. It needs to be somehow grounded on your paper. I think this one maybe I'll put right near the bottom. And I can trim that excess in a little bit. Take the next tree, little dots of glue around the edges. Not a lot. This tree, I think I'll have close to this one, but up a little further. That shows that it is in the distance. That one go up there. Do I want one more? I think I like the looks of 3. So now I'll go ahead and trim my tree trunks right at the edge. Now we can finish by adding a few more leaves on top of our trunks. We can take our tiny brush and mix some green with some blue. And create shadows. The shadows are going to come and all go in the same direction. So I'm doing 2 parallel lines from the edges of the trunk all the way to the bottom. And then I can paint on top. Maybe we want a few leaves at the bottom.